Hello everyone, welcome on my YouTube channel. My name is Simone Berliata. I'm a professional in hospitality and entrepreneur currently living in South Australia. In this video I would like to speak with you about the issues that I faced here in South Australia in my environment and what is caused and how it will be possible to fix them. So, to start, I would like to say to you what are the three main components or three main stakeholders of the industry here in South Australia. We have a labor, we have a market, and then we have the supplier or supply chain. To start with, I would like to start to speak about the labor, but first I would like to introduce you about myself, my professional experience. So, as professional in hospitality, I've been working for 24 years in the environment. I've been working in many different establishments, at least there are 14 so far in Italy. I've been working in UK, I've been working in Australia, I've been working in New Zealand and a little bit in Bulgaria too. Here in Australia it's almost 2 years now that I'm working, starting from 2016 2019. So, speaking about labor, what is the first issue, what are the issues that I've seen in the market over here, what they cause from, and what are the outcomes for the market. To start with, we all know that working in hospitality is not easy. Well, no job is easy, however hospitality is quite hard, and mainly for one specific motive, the social life. Hospitality is beautiful because you have to deal with people and interact with many people, which is really good. The other problem is, on the other side, is that working in hospitality, you work when other people are free. So your social life with your friends or with your family is always an issue if you want to have a family and if you want to have friends. So that's why often happen that people that working in hospitality and to start to live together. So the other problem or the other difficulty in hospitality is that working in hospitality, if you want to sustain, if you want to keep living and working in that environment, you need to find a way to be professionally recognized. So in Italy it's really not easy, but it's still a good opportunity to be recognized professionally. Many people, they have parents that they've been working, they're working in hospitality, they're specialized in one of the many sectors that is hospitality made from. In this case, the hospitality I speak mainly about restaurants, cafe, while hotels are a little bit out to this topic for today. So, professionally recognized in Italy, for instance, I am a sommelier, I'm a barista, I'm an international barista, I'm also a manager, and when I present myself in the social contest in Italy, I generally have a good position in comparison to others peers in the team. And also, as professional, I have much more environment to work with. Like many other professionals, they are connected to each other, there is a lot to speak about, there is a lot to share each other. So the first big difference and big issue I've seen over here in Australia is being professional in hospitality in Australia is not recognized. Or at least it is, but it's quite limited. For instance, coming over here in Australia, when I had to declare what was my job position, I've been saying I was a sommelier. And to start with, the first encounter at the custom, the people was working over there, they came to me and they said, "Ooh, what is the sommelier job?" And that was a good start. And it's actually quite common. The sommelier is just a waiter that serves wine. At the moment, the main figure in the hospitality scene is the chef. So, because maybe all Master Chef video series have been created, the chef is the main character in the restaurant, and everything else it's a sort of into the background. Which obviously for people that works lunchtime, nighttime, split shifts. They work on Saturdays, they work on Sundays. It is not a strong motivation. Here in South Australia, when you work in the hospitality environment, generally you did not complete the schools, or you were in transition time between one thing to another. While in Italy and other countries, hospitality is a full-on profession. When you work in hospitality, it's your life, you're recognized, and people recognize your professionality too. The third step, which is important and is quite surprising to me, it's the salary. How much money you can gain in Australia working in the hospitality industry. At this point, I'm speaking more about the front house. So, the salary, it's interesting, and I will do a comparison between Australia and Italy to make sure that it's clear why I'm speaking and considering the salary an issue here in Australia or South Australia. So, in Italy, as a manager, you can gain up to 31,000 euros per year, and you are a manager. If I want to do a comparison, a translation, they are an average of 36,000 US dollars per year. In Australia, working as a manager in a restaurant, you can gain up to 54,000 Australian dollars per year. But if you do translating US dollars, they are 38,000 US dollars. So between the two professions, the two countries, there are an average of 2,000 US dollars of difference. But what's the biggest difference? The reality is that in Italy, the average worker gains around 31 or 32,000 US dollars per year, while a professional in hospitality can gain up to $36,000 per year, which places you as professional in a better position than other workers, which makes you feeling, I'm lucky, I'm working hard, but I can afford things that others, they have to struggle a little bit longer to have. So the main difference here in Australia in terms of wage is that the average in Australia is around 53,000 US dollars. So in comparison to the $38,000 you can gain as professional in hospitality, you gain much less than the average. So the two positions in comparison between Italy and Australia, even though in Australia you gain more money than working in Italy, in Italy you have a better social position and you have also a better income in comparison to the average. While in Australia you are not recognized or you are poorly recognized and you have a lower income than the average, which altogether are making the position of worker in hospitality quite not enjoyable or desirable here in Australia. I have also to add to this topic a really particular characteristic in hospitality over here, which is working as casual. Working as casual is a kind of a common thing. Majority of workers that they work in hospitality, they work as casual. This is because it's a mix of both between the workers that they want to get responsibilities or they don't see the hospitality as a profession, and the employees which are simply not interested to carry on responsibilities on the workers. So this is pretty bad in my opinion, because the impact on the market is you have a higher rotation of workers in hospitality, and the lifestyle of a worker, of the labor force, when you work as casual is pretty bad. You work Saturdays, Sundays, you work in the nights, you do split shift, you pay less than the average, and also they have the chance legally to call you a couple hours early and tell you today do not work. Or they're able to call you and say, can you come in early? all these things are not allowing you to develop a lifestyle, a life, because unless you have priorities that they are going to make you sacrifice almost everything else, unless really it's really difficult to live in hospitality in South Australia with the conditions that are created from the market. Next step, the market. So Australia, in the average, takes around 40 billion Australian dollar in from hospitality per year. In terms of size, Adelaide, South Australia, has a total population of 1,200,000 people. In comparison with Sydney, which has 4,600,000, and Melbourne, that has 4,400,000, Adelaide is a small market, especially for one specific motive. Adelaide, being the business environment, is more a town or a city for families. In comparison to the people that you can find in Sydney or Melbourne, the market over here is much more oriented into the family's direction. Therefore, what's happened? The owners of restaurants or people that make the marketing of the restaurant, they have to adjust the services for the main market. And what's the problem? That restaurants, they do high quality service and that they provide high quality resources, they struggle because their market get pretty small. And because they struggle, they have to introduce a policy, which is the one that I call the yes marketing strategy. The yes marketing strategy is when whatever the customer is gonna say, you're always gonna say yes. And that is why. Mainly because you do not have enough market to contrast and say, no, I cannot provide this service to you. You always need to be able to accustom and accept what the customer wanna have. That's obviously in some way, especially in terms of labor satisfaction, is a problem. Why? Let's move to another problem, which is customers' habit in South Australia. I can't speak about Victoria and I can't speak about New South Wales because I haven't been working enough over there to say my thought. However, South Australia customers, they have a pretty interesting habit of customize food, drinks, and whatever is connected to hospitality. It's always subject to the high, strong customization. And this is not only create an overall amount of stress during the service, but also doesn't allow professional to be professional and say what they think the customer should have to have. That is obviously not a good thing for the labor force that at one stage is gonna be snapping or simply deciding to not considering the market available enough for them. And that you can see is reflect also on the international market. Hospitality professionals in South Australia, again, hospitality professionals in South Australia, they have the problem, internationally professionals, they have the problem to face a market that doesn't recognize their skills, especially in South Australia, is not able to pay for the service, and to final with, it's high customized. That means as professionals they cannot express their own passions and their own love, but what they can do, they simply have to provide a machine service for the customer. I have to add also that in Australia 40% of Australians, they go on a fast food chain at least one time per day, which it doesn't make obviously the knowledge of the customers quite enough to satisfy which is the high or good quality hospitality service that this country deserve. And the third step, the supply chain, food. Hospitality obviously need have a supply of food and services, and for what we know, Australia is a big country. Organize a supply chain here in Australia is quite a challenge, especially with the health issues correlated to that. Therefore, the big mine chains that they're servicing the market, for what I say again in South Australia, they are providing a kind of standardized service, standardized offer. Then also it's applying the fact that it's a good idea for them having a standardized offer to have a easier marketing for them applying the customers. This is now benefiting who? The independent suppliers, the ones that they have the challenge and also they have the strength of go abroad or go in specific areas and find products that are more expensive, but also they will give a benefit to the market in terms, in this case, customers and labor force, the market, to give them the benefits to have a much more complex variety and also a more broadened understanding of the food production and the hospitality, food-related services. This is the other side of the coin, which makes much more difficult for professionals that they are working with, and I speak also businesses, that they are working with specialized products to get on the market and be recognized. Why? Simply they have to face much more high expenses, they have to face difficulties to enter a market that is as 40% of people going to eat in fast food chains, and they're struggling because they do not have a labor force capable to communicate what is the specialty behind the products that they are serving. Because they do not receive support from the market, they have struggled to get on the market, it's much difficult to get their products available, even if you are in the city of Adelaide. When you live in the countryside, it's much more difficult for you to even get what it should be a normality in the city becomes a specialty over there. Well, that is almost all. Good cup of coffee. So let's wrap up a little bit. First, the problem, labor force. They struggle to find themselves recognized on the market because the customers, they generally prefer to place their understandings, they know what is created from years of experience. Also, the labor force has a problem to find themselves stable enough on the market because the average wage in comparison to, in hospitality, in comparison to what is the average in the whole Australia, is low. Therefore, people, when they have to invest their own life in a business, they prefer to divert on something else. So hospitality is always the kind of niche that is used to reach a goal more than just the goal. Because of that, businesses, they struggle to find professionals. They struggle to find professionals that are able to communicate the product to the final customer. Reliable, they work hard and they don't need to have extra training. And that is a problem because doing so, businesses, they stop to rely on workers, but they prefer to have a much more volatile, casual workers that if they have a problem, they can be simply switched in with somebody else. A lot of businesses, they look for professional overseas. The problem is that professionals overseas, they have higher standards in terms of personal development and not money-wise, but more professional recognition on the market. Therefore, internationals over here, they come in mildly because they are trying to run away from something, unless they will not leave their own country in terms of hospitality if they have to come and work over here in South Australia. To finish, the distribution chain, which is what I was saying before, an issue as the distribution chain is produce and provide products to the restaurants, and without a supply chain that allows to receive high quality product, it's much more difficult to add a possible competitive price, which is important. It's much more difficult for restaurants to produce a product on the market that it help to improve or the customer knowledge in terms of food and hospitality experiences. All these characteristics all together, they are making hospitality a much harder environment, which is not in other countries, for instance in Italy where I am from. Now in the next video I will speak about what is possible or what I think will be possible to in hospitality here in South Australia to fix this problem. So please stay tuned, leave your comments below because I'm really interested to know what you think about. I will also link my blog where I've been discussing more in depth these kind of topics, and please subscribe and I'll see you the next time. Ciao!